Once you download R onto your own system, then the first step for you to get started using R is to open a new script file. This will allow you to write all the code in one window. This is what's called the R console. This is what will output either your summary statistics or other information you're doing in your data analysis. Other windows for graphs and things will open up in a different separate window than the R console. It's important to write code in a script window because then you can easily edit it. Otherwise, you'll probably get a lot of errors that you don't want and will be really frustrating. So the first thing is to go to File, New Script. If you're using a Mac, then it'll be File, New Document. Open up a new blank window, and then you can start writing your code. So the first step is to import data or get some data. One way that we can do this is to use a read.csv command. So first I want to name my data set something. So if I'm going to use this data set that talks about the miles per gallon for a CRV, Honda CRV vehicle, and I'm going to call it CRV data. So this is the name of the data that I'm going to call it. And then the way that I can actually get that data is I'm going to say is equal to read.csv. I'm going to type in the command file.choose in parentheses, comma, and then put header equals true. That just means that my data set has the first row as the name of the variable. So if I have this line, then all I need to do to run this line is to highlight it. I can right click and say run line or section, or I can press Control R. On a Mac, you can do Command Enter. Go ahead and click Run Line or Section, and you'll see that over here in the R console, I've now run that line. So it's become red. That means that it's just now something has happened. And of course, then my window popped up. So now I can search for my file just like any other program. So I know that this file is under the desktop. I'm going to open it up, and sure enough, now has anything happened? So I've clicked it. I think I've opened it, but so to make sure that I actually have this data set, I can do a couple of different things. I can go to head, that's the command, CRV data. So I can say, hey, what are the first 6 rows of this data set? Just to make sure that I've actually uploaded the right data set. I can highlight again, do run line or section, or I can just click it and do Control R or Command Enter, depending on if I'm using a PC or a Mac. And sure enough, I can see over here in the R console, then I have the first 6 lines of my data set. So my variable name is MPG, and then I have a quantitative variable. So if I want to do anything with this data set, suppose I want to make a histogram or something like that. The way I can do that is I can set the command hist. Each command will then be wrapped with parentheses. So hist is the histogram command. Then I want to take from the CRV data, so it'll be CRV data, I'm going to put a $sign that will say from this data set, I want to then extract the MPG variable and make a histogram from it. From here, I can simply just do the short key, Control R, or I can highlight and say Run Line or Section. And here I have a histogram of my data set. Now I can make this a little bit prettier if I want by adding titles and things like that, but that will be shown in a separate code that you can copy. All right, so after I make a histogram, perhaps maybe I want to take an average of this quantitative variable, then I can do mean. Again, the command will be wrapped with parentheses. I will collect my variable by putting in my data set, so CRV data. The $sign then attaches the variable, MPG, and again, I can run this, and over here in my console window, I will get an average of 25.268. So this is how you can easily upload a data set from a CSV file, look at your data, then do a histogram, and then calculate a mean. Now, there's several things that we'll be doing in this class that are more complex than this. However, the basic part of just getting the data set up is always the most difficult for beginning students. Another way that you can enter in data, if you have a small data set, or if you're just looking to add in a couple of variables, you can call your data set anything you want. So I'm going to call this Katie data, and this will be equal to then a list. So if I want to make a vector, I put C. That is, it's combine. That's what C stands for. And so I have C, and let's say my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so from here now I can actually call this new variable. And I want to run these two lines. And now I have Katie data. It seems that it's right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I want to take the average of this, then I simply just say mean Katie data. Run this line, and I get an average, of course, of 3. So this is another way that you can add in data, especially if you have a small data set or just want to add in another vector. Hopefully this video helped you to just get started with our R package.